1, Channel 2, Channel 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 1, Channel 2.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Andersen Sports Live. That is Matt Rigby.
And that is Jack Housingate. Jack, not a lot in the way of sports that mattered this weekend.
Not a lot,
There was
you're
some NHL, there was some NCAA basketball, and there was one NBA All-Star game that featured this much defense.
Yeah, no defense, and arguably the biggest NBA news came off the court. Yes, a star is on the move. NBA league sources say that the Sacramento Kings have agreed to trade All-Star center DeMarcus Cousins to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Tyreek Evans, Langston Galloway, and Buddy Hield, along with the first and second round picks in this year's NBA draft. Cousin, who is averaging nearly 28 points and 11 rebounds a game this year, will now be teammates with the 2017 All-Star Game MVP, Anthony Davis. And Matt, we won't have to wait until Thursday to see the two in action together for the first time, because last night they were teammates on the Western Conference All-Star team.
That's right, Jack. Sacramento's trash is New Orleans' treasure. Pick things up in last night's All-Star game. Live from New Orleans, Steph Curry, LeBron James, they met in the finals last year. They meet again last night. Kyrie Irving, first quarter, hands it off to the Greek Freak, who slams it home. Score didn't matter all night long. Later in the first period, Kyrie with a nice alley-oop to a familiar face, LeBron James, who finishes it off. First quarter one more time. Another set of familiar faces. KD to Russ Westbrook. Didn't even know they were on speaking terms. LeBron slams home a pass from himself later in the quarter. West wins 192 to 182.
And Matt, you can't forget about the slam dunk contest on Saturday night. Indiana's own Glenn Robinson III, a nice finish there. Also, check out Derrick Jones Jr. Devin Booker, the pass off the backboard through the legs. A nice finish there. He would again go between the wickets on his next dunk. But it was Glenn Robinson's night. He finished with a perfect 50 after jumping over three guys and finishing. He got the hardware. He was your 2017 Slam Dunk Contest champion. So now we want to bring in the fawn of Fort Worth, Michael Dixon, along with the rest of the roundtable crew, Dean Knuth and Colton Stone, to discuss All-Star Weekend a little further. Guys?
400 or 500 or 600 times. Talking NBA All-Star Game, welcome up to the roundtable. Michael Dixon alongside Colton Stone and Dean Knuth. Talking NBA All-Star Game, it's basically what happened this weekend. And as somebody who does like basketball, I genuinely enjoy the sport of basketball. I genuinely enjoy the NBA. I found myself not caring about the game in any substance whatsoever. I thought it was boring, it did not engage me, and I just wanted it to be over. And it seems like that, after a 192 to 182 scoreline, is sort of what everyone's feeling like. But before we absolutely bash the All-Star Game, which is kind of what we're going to do, we'll start with you, Colton. And when you look at the All-Star Game as someone who just enjoys the game of basketball, what do you enjoy about the game specifically?
Well, aside from the NBA's, obviously, monetary value, I think the game holds weight in the fact that the fans vote for the players that are in there. They're arguably the best 30 players in the NBA in one game playing against each other. But the downfall when you do get all these great players together is when they don't put in a full effort. It just isn't competitive. There is no athletic value. There's no merit to it. They're kind of just out there because the NBA and the fans said, well, we kind of want you on the court because that's what the fans want. And so I just think that the game has become, let's score as many points as we can, play very little defense.
It's become an offensive game. It's really what it's been.
It's about the points.
And the press conference after Adam Silver kind of just jokes around. I mean, jokes around with the idea 200 points. And then he's like, we don't need an All-Star game if there's 200 points that are scored in the game. And it's kind of funny because there's a dunk contest, and then the All-Star game kind of turns into a dunk contest. It kind of in the middle of the second and third.
It's a glorified shoot-around.
Yeah, it's a glorified shoot-around.
With an added dunk contest.
Yes, with a little bit of defense, I mean, in the fourth quarter. But otherwise, it's just to show off what kind of athleticism that the fans voted in to the All-Star game. And, I mean, there's some snubs. I mean, you can bring up maybe like Draymond Green was in the All-Star game, and Damian Lillard with 26 points per game. Wasn't in, so it's kind of just a fan favorite of having that All-Star game.
Exactly, and you can watch the footage.
This isn't basketball.
No one's playing defense. Harden doesn't play defense, but Harden just stood there and kind of he took the dunk, and it's just not what you want out of a game.
I mean, you could see it up there. It's just simply not basketball. But that doesn't mean that we can't make the All-Star Game something engaging. So If you're the NBA, let's say, and you're tasked with trying to make the All-Star game fun again or something like that, what's something the NBA can do to engage people on a Sunday evening when there's really not much else going on?
What I think they can do is they take 2 coaches from the West, so let's say Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich, and then 2 coaches from the East, and take 16 players, instead of 15, take 16. So 16 from the West, 16 from the East. And those 2 coaches draft 8 to their teams. So there's 4 teams of 8. And the West teams play each other, the East teams play each other, and then the winning teams from the West and the East play each other, and the losing teams play each other, but play before the winning teams. So kind of like a round-robin tournament. The games are a little bit shorter, obviously, and not as much scoring, but it'll be a little more competitive. Just who can make the best team out of these All-Stars.
And obviously the games have to be shorter. You don't want to watch 6-7 hours straight of basketball. It just becomes, again, a glorified skills competition. The NHL went to the 3-on-3 tournament. I think the NBA could find some kind of generate the best West versus worst East, and just kind of maybe 2 West teams play each other, hopefully making it competitive once again.
I wanted to play street ball. Plays by 1s and 2s, go to 21, check up, half court. That's what I want. But while we're tasked with trying to figure out how to fix the NBA All-Star Game, we'll stay down here and do that. But until then, back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Jack, well, I mentioned it at the start of the show. There were some sports that actually mattered, had games that actually mattered this weekend, including golf. All that and more next, right after the break. You're watching Andersen Sports Live.
A lot of high school students would ask, why should I go to UNL? Well, why did Johnny Carson, the Tonight Show fame, go to UNL? Why did multi-billionaire businessman Warren Buffett go to UNL? Why did people of such great fame and success go to UNL? Simple, because these are people that wanted to be successful. At the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, you too can begin your own success story. After all, if people like this can achieve national recognition and who came from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, then so can you.
For nearly 7 years now, Here Nebraska has provided the state with nonprofit music journalism. Our platform survives on the hard work and dedication of our staff and our contributors, everyday volunteers that generate content. Contributing is an excellent way to gain valuable professional experience, recognition, and build your portfolio. Go to herenebraska.org to learn more and how you can contribute.
East Campus is for students who want an education outside of the classroom. We have art, agriculture, fashion, food science, law, dentistry, and a lot of trees, all of which are housed just on the corner of 33rd and Holdridge. Grab an ice cream cone at our dairy store or take a stroll through our gardens while you're here. Want to make it legit? Visit us at casnr.unl.edu to reserve a
Sports Live. Matt, the weather's getting a little warmer. You know what that means? Time for a little golf. And I'm not very good myself, but do you know who is good? I'll give you a guess.
Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson is correct. It was a long climb, but yes, Dustin Johnson has finally reached the top after his win at the Genesis Open on Sunday. Johnson rose to number 1 in the official world golf rankings for the very first time in his career. He overtakes Jason Day, who had held the spot for 47 consecutive weeks. He did so thanks in large part to his impressive performance yesterday. So let's take a look at those highlights. The beautiful Genesis Open at Riviera. Dustin Johnson, we already told you he was the winner. This putt right here, his 4th birdie in a row. He would have a 9-stroke lead early in the 4th, and when it's your day, oh, it's your day. Yet another birdie goes for Johnson, and like I said, he is now officially the number 1 golfer in the entire world.
But the tempo of the stroke was different today. If you get the right tempo and the golf ball trap.
It was a milestone weekend in the National Hockey League for some of the game's greats. In Pittsburgh, reigning Stanley Cup champion and 2-time league MVP Sidney Crosby picked up his 1,000th career point last Thursday. The point came with Crosby receiving the primary assist on a Chris Kunitz goal. Meanwhile, in Chicago, a pair of Blackhawks stars reached new scoring heights as well. First on Saturday, Hawks captain Jonathan Taves tallied his 600th career point by setting up Richard Panik for a goal. Then on Sunday night, Patrick Kane scored his 20th goal of the season in the Hawks' victory over the Sabres. Kane, who is in his 10th NHL season, has now scored 20 or more goals in all 10. He is the first American-born player to accomplish that feat in NHL history. Let's head on over to Buffalo to see exactly how things went down between the Hawks and the Sabres. Pick things up first period with the rookie Ryan Hartman dangling and firing home a slap shot top shelf. Hawks up 1-0. Then later in the second, Marian Hossa, the ageless one, fires one home, 2-1 Hawks, now 3-1. Kane tries a slapper, Anisimov taps it home. Hawks up 4-1, the rout is on, and here's that goal for Kane late in the third. Nice backhand move, he slams it home in front of the parents. Hawks win 5-1.
Some more NHL action for you. San Jose and Boston doing battle in the Shark Tank last night. Let's pick it up in the middle of the first frame. The Bruins throw one towards the net. Jimmy Hayes can't stuff home the rebound, but Ryan Spooner will. 1-0 Boston. But San Jose would respond. Brent Burns with a blast, deflected out in front, and look at that. Patrick Marleau, Johnny on the spot, ties things up. This game would head into overtime, and here's your game winner. Brad Marchand, the mayor of Dangle City, throws it right through the legs of San Jose netminder Martin Jones, and the Bees win 2-1 in California.
How about the early game on Sunday? Alex Ovechkin and the Caps in MSG to take on King Hank and the Rangers. Scoreless in the first period. Watch this effort from Ryan McDonough. Tries the slapper. It's stopped by Braden Holtby, but McDonough picks it up, backs up, and fires it home. Top shelf. Rangers up 1-0. Later in the second period, Alex Ovechkin on the power play from the point where he loves it. Game tied at 1. Now looking to break the tie, it's the Rangers in the third. It's the Norwegian wonder Matt Zuccarello. 2-1. Rangers win it. Well, with everything going on in basketball, football, and hockey, we fully forgive you if you weren't paying attention to what's been happening in America's pastime. That's what we're here for. The changes haven't been at the major league level yet, but they may be coming soon. For now, minor league baseball will play under a new extra innings format for this upcoming 2017 season. Each offensive team will begin their half inning with a runner already on second base. The rule, which will be implemented in the Gulf Coast League and the Arizona Fall League, is part of an effort by Major League Baseball to understand the consequences of the in-game rules.
The 2017 session of Major League Baseball's spring training is set to begin with teams reporting to Florida and Arizona this week. Games start as early as Wednesday with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Detroit Tigers kicking things off in the Cactus and Grapefruit Leagues respectively. But baseball fans will be treated to a full slate of games on Friday. Some notable teams in action include the new-look Boston Red Sox, who take on the New York Mets, along with the San Francisco Giants, who will meet the Cincinnati Reds. And with spring training right around the corner, we sent out Scott Ayers and Grace Harmon to see how much people truly know about the Cactus and Grapefruit Leagues.
Hi there, folks. My name is Scott Ayers alongside Grace Harmon. We're going to be doing a little sports on the street. And guess what we're talking about? Spring training baseball. Can you tell me the two locations where spring training is held?
I want to say Arizona, and I want to say somewhere in Florida. I believe one's Jupiter, Florida, and something maybe Palm Springs. I'm not quite sure.
The other, I believe, is in Arizona, but you know what? 1 for 2 isn't bad. 50%. It's a lot better than some people.
I think there's one in Florida and Arizona.
More importantly, do you know the league name of Arizona and Florida?
Ooh, that's a stretch.
And I have no idea.
All right, one is the cactus.
Cactus.
And one is the grapefruit.
Oh, I would have guessed an orange.
This guy knows his stuff. Well, Zach, since you are such a baseball expert, could you tell me what the two league names are in Arizona and Florida? Well, folks, we got some answers that were good, some that were bad, and quite frankly, some that were ugly. But overall, it was a great experience learning about what people know about spring training baseball. From Grace Harmon and Scott Ayers, we're sending it back to you guys in the studio. Hi there, folks.
It's coming, Jack. Baseball's coming. What do you say, your White Sox World Series run?
I don't think this year, Matt, I don't think the White Sox get it this year, but hey, the Cubs, back-to-back World Series champions, it's a possibility. But we need to get to break. Coming up after these commercials, college basketball is in full swing. March Madness is quickly approaching. We will catch you up on all the latest highlights.
Our goals are simple: conserve and protect. The choice is yours. Stay ahead of the game and invest in reusable containers, or simply make use of recycling bins. Our recycling bins around campus can recycle paper, plastic, and even aluminum. Finished with that newspaper? Recycle it. Did you drink the rest of your pop? Recycle it. Heck, we'll even take your homework. Well, after it's graded, of course. Stop throwing away plastic and just recycle it.
What can we do with 2.2 million square feet?
We can create.
Design.
Develop.
Study.
Generate.
Build.
At Innovation Campus, we combine research and transformation.
We combine business and art, technology and research.
We combine minds with makers, experts and novices.
We innovate.
Welcome to Innovation Campus.
The historic Haymarket, a beautiful place just west of downtown Lincoln, home of the exciting Pinnacle Bank Arena and a rich history. The Haymarket's history starts shortly after Lincoln's founding, when Lincoln was a busy hub for trains filled with traders and merchants. But now, Lincoln has a new rail yard that's filled with people looking for food, drinks, or fun. The Haymarket is loaded with restaurants and fun for everyone. What are you waiting for? Go visit lincolnhaymarket.org/events to find out what's happening today.
Welcome back to Andersen Sports Live. Some college basketball news to get you caught up on. The NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel has approved experimental rules for the 2017 NIT postseason tournament. These rules include resetting team fouls at the end of the first 10 minutes in each half, along with resetting the shot clock to 20 seconds when the ball is inbounded in the front court. The panel says these changes will provide valuable information to the NCAA for possible use in future tournaments.
And now for some actual game action in college basketball yesterday. Big 12 matchup, top 5. Manu LeCompte hits a three-pointer for Baylor. They go on an 8-0 run. Then later on, Jake Lindsey throws the alley-oop pass to Nuni Omat. Baylor up 31-25. Late in the game, we're all tied up. 15 seconds to go. Kansas misses a shot, but the rebound hauled in, and Josh Johnson knocks down the shot. Then Baylor later on, down by 2. Driving the lane, it's Jonathan Motley. He misses a shot. Kansas wins it 67-25 at the buzzer.
A top 15 matchup in Chapel Hill, number 14 Virginia, number 10 North Carolina, and it was all Tar Heels in this one. There's Justin Jackson, 3 of his 20 points on the day, and here he is again. This time passing the rock, he finds Isaiah Hicks for the flush, and oh yeah, he loves it. Clapping there. Later on in the second with the Heels up 20. Jackson to Hicks again, yet another slam. UNC would go on to win the game, 65-41.
Pair of ranked foes got together in the Big Ten yesterday afternoon. Maryland traveling to Wisconsin. Pick it up in the first half. Maryland up by 4, but a nice feed down low and the slam for the Badgers, and one. Makes it 27-26. Ethan Happ with a nice play. Now tied at 36, second half. Off of a screen, knocking down the jumper, it's Bronson Koenig. Wisconsin up again. Wisconsin now up 6 in the second half. Melo Trimble open, right wing 3. He hits it, cuts the lead down to 3. The teams go back and forth, but Wisconsin eventually wins it, 71-60. We want to bring in our college basketball expert, Alec Chisholm now, who tuned into all of the action over the weekend and came away with perhaps some different thoughts on some teams moving forward. Jack is with Alec at the coffee table.
Thank you, Matt. We now want to welcome onto the show Andersen Sports Live correspondent Alec Chisholm. Alec, thank you for joining us. So we just saw some college basketball highlights, and I want to talk about Kansas and Baylor for a little bit. Kansas, a nice comeback over Baylor, and it's something similar that they did just last week when they beat West Virginia. They've been atop the Big 12 standings for the past several years now. Are they truly, though, the team to beat in that conference as we speak today?
Kansas, absolutely the team to beat in the Big 12 right now. Like you said, wins over West Virginia and Baylor in the last week, both top 10 teams, and the Baylor win was on the road and both comeback victories. This team knows how to play when it matters, and that's very important at this point of the season. This victory puts them up 3 games with only 4 games to go in the season, and they don't play West Virginia, or Baylor again the rest of the season, and I think they're well on their way to that 13th consecutive Big 12 title.
So you like Kansas to win the Big 12, but a tighter race, especially with conference, is in the Big 10, and that is between Wisconsin and now Purdue. Wisconsin, we just saw, got a big victory at home against Maryland. They have been skidding of late, but a big-time victory now puts them at a tie with Purdue. Out of those two teams, which one do you like to win the conference and why?
Well, like you said, big win by Wisconsin yesterday. Snaps a 2-game losing streak that they were on. But I'm going to go with Purdue, and that's because they haven't lost a game since January 29th, a little over 3 weeks ago, to Nebraska. And they have been absolutely hot since then. That's a 5-game win streak that they're on. 3 of their last 4 games are on the road, though. Could be tough, especially the last one is against Northwestern, who has been a very good basketball team this year. But I think Purdue gets it done, and they'll take home the regular season Big Ten title.
Well, thank you, Alec. It should be a very interesting couple of weeks, but I appreciate you joining me. Now we're going to send it over back to the desk with Matt.
All right, guys, thanks. Well, perhaps the fastest growing trend in all of sports isn't even played on a field or court. It takes place in front of a screen instead. Let's kick it to the apple of Andersen Hall, Michael Dixon, and the rest of the Roundtable gang with more. Michael?
Thanks, guys. Back here up at the Roundtable, Michael Dixon alongside Colton Stone and Dean Knuth. Talking a lot about March Madness, but really when you think about it, there's another kind of March Madness that's coming up, and that is spring break practice in college football. It seems like we see more and more college football regardless of what time it is during the year. Jim Harbaugh wants to take his team to Rome to play, and it seems just nuts. I'll start with you, Colton. Where do you draw the line with this spring break stuff, and is it something that the NCAA is going to have to rule at some point?
Well, right now they've already come out and said that what Michigan did last year, going to IMG Academy in Florida, as you can see here, is this. They said that the teams can't do this anymore. They can't take their players on trips to play football. It's a spring break for the kids. They get their break. They can go see people. They can kind of do some version of practice, but they can't force the kids to go on these trips. But with Rome, you look at Nebraska basketball. They went to Spain. They played teams in Spain over the summer.
Yep.
Of course, summer's a little different than middle of the school year, but teams have done this before. There's no difference in Jim Harbaugh wanting to take his own money and say, I'm going to take my kids to Rome, Italy, and let them travel for their spring break. So I guess it would be mostly up to the kids whether they want to go.
The thing with those practices, though, too, he looked at the rule book, and it said that you can't take your team to another place, like a satellite camp, that's in the States. So legally, he could take them to Rome. But the question then came up, why not offer them the trip to Rome, or that $8,000 that that it costed them to take those kids? Why not give it to them? Because they're working hard, and some of them are just walk-ons, and they could use that money, for other things, for their schooling or whatever. But I think that this spring break is for the kids to have a break from schooling, because they're doing 12+ hours a day, practicing, homework, classes, and they need a break.
Well, we'll keep it right here on this topic too, and this is an issue that there's all kinds of moving parts here. And the biggest thing is the NCAA still doesn't pay players, but in the same sense, if you're a Michigan player and you get to go to Rome over spring break, like you said, that's an that trip is worth $8,000. Do you have to draw the line at some point and either allow this to happen, or do you want to start paying players altogether and make this more of a, in a way, like spring training?
If they're going to offer the money for the trip anyways, and they're going to do compensation, things like that, which obviously schools have their own little fine, you get this for a stipend because you can't work a job, we'll pay for your transportation, that kind of stuff. But is a trip to Rome and paying $8,000, at that point you're paying the players?
The real
Why
question
not just pay the
is a
players?
trip to Rome really necessary for the team? I mean, you look at Michigan last year. What were they? 10-3, 11-2. I don't remember their record exactly. They were a good team. Do they really need to go to do they really need to go to another country to practice a little bit more when they were in the top 25 to end the year last year? So it's unnecessary. It's extra. It's being extra.
Really quickly, do you get that much more going to Rome than you do practicing in a bubble in Ann Arbor?
I don't think there's honestly that much of a difference. You don't play your home games in Spain. You aren't going to play football overseas regularly. What's the difference of playing inside a dome on a turf field?
Any difference to you?
No, not at all. I mean, it's actually, you can think about it, it almost could be different climate. You're in that different climate, and it's not what you're used to. And along with that, it's the traveling by airplane. You're not, it's that layover time.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, fellas, I would love a trip to Rome. I'm sure that Jack and Matt would as well. And with that, we'll hand it back to you at the desk.
All right, thank you, Michael. When we come back, we'll step onto the racetrack and get revved up for the NASCAR season that is just 1 week away. Stay tuned. You're watching Andersen Sports Live.
This is the nation's biggest multicultural center attached to a union. there's space to interact, study, and create. We're home to dozens of cultures, majors, and interests. We are home to all underrepresented students. And here, there's always room for you. Located on the east side of the UNL City Campus Union, find your home away from home. Find us at the Jackie Gunn Multicultural Center.
At the Outdoor Adventure Center, you'll find activities for everyone, from canoeing to kayaking to rock climbing. Everyone can get involved, but if you want to find them, you probably have to look up. The Outdoor Adventure Center isn't something you can really define. It's a culture built through experiences. Take a class with us. Go on a trip with us. We're open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Come move with us. Come adventure with us. You just have to experience it.
It's your first stop on campus. It's your helping hand. It's a place to study, a place to eat, and a place to plan. The NCARD office, Career Services, Student Affairs Center, a multicultural center, food, and even Greek affairs.
Wait, did you mention food?
Yes, but we have a lot of other stuff too. Come check it out at the Union.
It's our union.
Welcome back to Andersen Sports Live. When your last name is Earnhardt, there's a good chance racing is in your blood. When your first name is Dale, the odds are even greater. But the road for Dale Jr. wasn't the smoothest in 2016. After missing just 2 races in 5 years prior, Jr. suffered a concussion in July of 2016, causing him to miss the entire second half of the Sprint Cup season. Jr. was back behind the wheel for the first time Sunday for Daytona 500 qualifying, and the results could not have been better. The 88 car finished second in qualifying, earning him a spot next to pole sitter Chase Elliott in next weekend's 500. Brad Keselowski, Clint Boyer, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin round out the top qualifiers. Qualifying wasn't the only race that took place at Daytona International yesterday. Tommy Rezach is standing by at the telestrator to break down the wild final lap of yesterday's Clash at Daytona. Tommy?
Thank you, Matt. Now we skip ahead to the final lap of the Clash at Daytona yesterday as we pick it up. Denny Hamlin, a good lead heading into turn number 1. Brad Keselowski gets the run. Hamlin tries to block. They collide. There goes Logano up top, followed by Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman. That wreck put Hamlin 13th after he led 48 laps. Logano pulled away for the easy win, his first win in 9 starts in the Clash at Daytona. Busch second, Alex Bowman third. So what happened there is we go back to the beginning. You see Denny Hamlin coming down the front stretch, a pretty sizable lead, gets into the corner. Hamlin elects to take the low side. Keselowski looks up top, puts a little crossover move on Hamlin, and then watch this as we pause it right here. Hamlin is kind of inching toward the bottom, and as he does that, that's going to allow Keselowski to continue his run, and then you see the plume of smoke. They touch, and they just keep on bumping and banging down the bottom of turn 2. There you see Logano in the 22 car as I pause it right there. Logano in the yellow 22 car. It's a little bit blurred, but he speeds by the 11 and the 2. Hamlin the 11, Keselowski the 2, colliding. Keselowski ended up 6, so neither one of them ended up close to a victory. Now, as we back it up one more, as we back it up one more time, what Hamlin should not do in this situation, when he has Keselowski on his left rear fender, his spotter, Chris Lambert, has to let him know when traffic is there, and he's got to let him know that, hey, that's not an advisable block to make, but Hamlin, desperate to defend the victory, takes Keselowski to the apron anyway, and they collide. There you see it slows them both down, and nice vision by Logano to see the open lane up top and pull away for the victory. Cool moment for Logano. He'll start 17th in the Daytona 500. Guys?
Thank you, Tommy. New York Jets cornerback Darrelle Revis turned himself into police Friday evening after being charged with 4 first-degree felonies and 1 misdemeanor. These charges come after Revis was accused of being involved in a fight with 2 men last weekend in Pittsburgh. According to a docket sheet, the 31-year-old is facing 2 counts of aggravated assault, along with charges of robbery, conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and terroristic threats.
Well, the NFL Combine is still a week away, but fans can now wet their whistle with the list of attendees. That list was officially released over the weekend, and it is full of stars from the country's most prominent programs. The Michigan Wolverines lead the way with 14 invitees, including likely first-round pick and Heisman finalist Jabril Peppers. Alabama and LSU each will send 10 attendees, and Clemson, Miami, and Texas A&M will all send 9 players. Other notable invitees include quarterbacks Deshaun Watson and Mitch Trubisky of Clemson and North Carolina, respectively. The Combine gets underway next Tuesday and continues through the weekend.
That is all we have for you today on Andersen Sports Live. I am Jack Housengay.
And I'm Matt Rigby. Should be a fun week of sports, Jack.
It should be a fun week. We will see you next Monday. Take care.